this is the last run. Are you guys getting emotional with this, or?
He cries a lot in the morning. No, we're still friends after doing this.
Yeah, actually, I think we're closer.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a great experience.
None of us had been water this cold ever. First time in full steamers. And George Downing, who was the coach, and Paul Strow, who was the senior surf team member, Ben Ipa. They go, we're not going to wear wetsuits. We're Hawaiian. And they went out in their boardies. And
wow. How did that go?
They did pretty good. They got all the good waves, too, as I remember.
Wow.
And of course, you guys, tonight we're actually going down to Lawn, which is where the world titles were situated at.
Well, that's where we stayed, in the Lawn Hotel.
You guys have some flashbacks tonight.
Yeah.
What was it was a pretty important time in surfing too, because there was a lot going on with boards changing shape every week, and the emergence of, like, obviously people like yourself and names now that are iconic. How looking back now at those 70 world titles, how do you see them?
Well, the boards were antiques looking back now, and the boards we had coming from Hawaii were different from what the guys from California had, and what you guys were riding back then were these really, really short boards, real stubby little things, and it ended up that the California boards worked best, and California fell along.
Yeah.
The women's side, a good friend of mine, a gal from Hawaii, won, and I actually forgot about that. We just ran a story, did a story on Surfer's Journal about her. And yeah, that's right. She won the 70 world titles in the 1972, Sharon Weber.
The States, I was going to ask you, your first time to Australia, and you probably correct me if I'm wrong, it was for a skate tour?
Yes.
You were in your teens?
Well, yes, in 1977 for Golden Breed.
Golden Breed.
Yes.
Because I got reminded of this. One of the guy who ended up being a pro surfer, Robbie Bain, was actually a teenage skater, and he was part of that.
I remember that name.
And he's been going, mate. You've got to talk to Stacy about that tour.
Yeah, I was one of the first American skateboarders to come to Australia to introduce modern skateboarding in 1977. And I was brought here by John Arnold, who owned Golden Breed out of Adelaide.
Wow. He's a good friend of mine, too.
Yeah.
And I toured the entire country, and there were places where I would go into department stores and they would build a cage to put me in, because the skateboarding was so new, they didn't understand it, and they thought it was a dangerous piece of equipment, and they thought that if I lost it, it might break a kid's tooth, like a kid in the audience. So I was in a cage.
Not for the last time, or?
That was not the last time I was in a cage. Yeah. But I wanted to add one thing, because you brought up skateboarding. Gerry's life has mirrored and paralleled the history of surfing, modern surfing. But also, just like you were saying about the bad equipment, we learned how to ride swimming pools with roller skate equipment, because there was no such thing as skateboarding equipment back then. So this whole thing has been a historical journey. And his life and the film, you can see, has been a journey from day one. And his generation and he helped surfers develop tube riding. There was no tube riding before them, like real tube riding. It happened on his watch. It's kind of amazing when you think about tube riding, such a natural thing to do today. Back then, they didn't even know if it was possible. Like, they didn't even know what it was. And Gerry was one of the keen pioneers of that.
Did you get barrel to bells here, Gerry?
Not even close. Surfing and skating are so popular and so big today is because all the work we put in riding those crappy boards, those crappy skateboards, those crappy surfboards, making them better, making surfing and skating much easier. And that, of course, makes it more attractive.
There was a period where the two sports were really kind of tied in together.
Well, it always came from surfing. Skating used to be called sidewalk surfing, and remember Phil Edwards back in the early '60s riding a little tiny skateboard.
Well, look, when I was riding my skateboard, I was either him or Reno Abalera or Terry Fitzgerald or Barry Kanayapuni. It was like, who am I going to be today? Which one? Well, if I'm going this way, I'm going to be Jerry. If I'm going that way, I'm going to be Barry. That's what we were doing in our head, because when we weren't surfing, we were skateboarding to surf, you know, and we were emulating these guys, the heroes of ours that were in the magazines.
Gerry, you're probably going to see a lot of familiar faces on this trip.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But everyone's old like me, you know, so maybe the movies are too late for them. They'll be asleep.
Not on the Gold Coast, they won't.
They're bringing hammocks, I understand, for some.
There's a lot of people coming to these shows. I think we're officially sold out across the 6 shows, which probably gives you a fair idea that there's a lot of interest in your story. Gerry, does that still blow you out that interest is there?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, what's so interesting about me?
You know what, though? I'll tell you something interesting. People really are interested in Gerry because he's continued to evolve and move on as a surfer. There's very few surfers like him in the world that have done every type of surfing. You know, he's done shortboard, longboard, windsurfing, kiteboarding, now foil surfing, wake surfing, river surfing, tow surfing. He's done it all, and he's still learning as a kid, you know, living his life as a kid. And so I think a lot of people are fascinated by him because of that. But also, these films help us all connect the dots of this culture that we've been a part of for a very long time. And it gives us an idea of the longevity, where it comes from.
Well, he wouldn't let me look at anything.
Oh, wouldn't he?
For a long time.
We wanted to make sure it was in place. It took us a long time to get the film to settle into place.
Yeah.
And then he finally got to see it. Because we wanted it to have the proper effect. I had really hoped that he wouldn't see it until with an audience, but we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be much more of a emotional impact.
Yeah. How was it, Gerry? It's the first time watching the cut.
I wanted to run. You know, we did all these interviews with a whole bunch of people, and great interviews. He's so good at that. When I first saw the film, I went, there's way too much of me. Where's everybody else?
He did say that. That's his first reaction. There's a little bit too much of me. And I go, well, the film's about you. And he goes, yeah, but there might be too much about me. But when we started this project, because we were friends, I had to tell him, you have to allow me to be critical of you and ask you critical questions without you thinking it's me, because it's me, the filmmaker, and I've got to have that so it doesn't tarnish our relationship. So there were certain things that, you know, we wanted to come out of this as friends and not let the process, destroy anything.
Oh, you're still here together, so
Yeah.
you haven't thrown each other off the edge here yet.
No, we
so.
shared a house last night, an Airbnb. No, we're having a really good time. And also what Gerry said is, you don't know what a film is until you show it to people. That's when you find out what it's about. And most of the time when people see the film, they pick things out, they get things from it that you're not even aware are in it.
Yeah.
He, as the person in it, and me as the filmmaker, will hear things from people and go, I never thought of that before. I didn't see the film. I didn't see that emotion. And they pick things up that's rewarding to us. And a prolific surfer, and he was involved in one of the greatest surf brands of all time, Lightning Bolt. And he, kicked off adventure surfing with G-Land. I mean, it's like you're talking about the playbook of surfing, of modern surfing. He's experienced all of it, and he was at the head of all of it, at the starting line.
Now you can't get him out of the wave pools.
Yeah, and now he's in wave pools and rivers.
He's trying to sneak one in on the way to the airport tomorrow.
Yeah, but he's really hardcore. Yeah. I've seen him learn like kiteboarding, and he's incredibly focused on what he wants to do still. It's a documentary film, and so documentary films don't have a lot of money. The budgets are small, so you have to beg, borrow, and steal, and you have to, you have to find a lot of people that are very hard to find to get footage from them and photographs. Those are big challenges. It's really hard, but you gotta turn over every stone to find that stuff, that footage, that material that no one's seen. It's not easy. One of the example is Jack McCoy, who's part of this film, knew Gerry Ferrant. And Gerry Ferrant had made a lot of films out of the 70s, but no one had seen them in the past 30 years because they're not online. And so Jack had a connection with Gerry, and we made a deal with Gerry, and we got a lot of footage of Gerry that no one's seen in a very, very, very long time. That was really rare, and that was a, that was a treasure to find that.
Yeah, and that was one of the objectives.
Yeah.
In securing surfing footage.
The reaction generally and taking it out to the people, and how have you felt about it?
Oh my gosh, it's been
great?
better than we could have expected.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it to be this many. Didn't expect this many people to show up. Didn't expect them to have say the things that they've said about the film. And also, you can tell if something works by how many people stay at the end of the film for the Q&A.
Yeah.
If they stay, they like it. If they don't like the film, they don't stay. And we've been keeping about 90% of our audience, which is really says something.
Yeah, a couple nights ago in Melbourne, God, everybody's still here.
And also I got to say one thing, and this is not what I was expecting from the Australian screening. There's a spiritual element in this film. Gerry does yoga. He's this incredibly soulful surfer, and there is a spiritual through line in this film to a bit. Some people get it, some people don't. I'm very proud that it's in there. But what was interesting at the first Australian screening is how many people brought up that element in the Q&A. Like, it really hit them. And I was like going, wow, that's fantastic that part of the film rang true in Australia, of all places. Like, that meant, like, I felt like, wow, we hit it. We hit it.
In the land of the surfing animal.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's really
Surprise
rewarding.
yourself.
Yeah.
Australian surfers are a lot more spiritual than you give them credit for.
We're evolving.
Yeah, no, so I thought, wow, okay, it's working.
That was...
It wasn't just one person, it was a number.
No, it was a number, and we
Yeah.
thought, wow, how interesting.
When was the last time you were up that way, Gerry?
Was that 8 or 10 years ago?
Yeah, last time you were here,
when
yeah.
we did the book tour?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to getting back up?
Oh, yeah. I love it here. Every time I come here, there's no place like Australia.
Man, there isn't.
And that might be it. Guys, great to have you here. Awesome to have you back at Bell's, Gerry.
Oh.
Sorry we couldn't turn anything on for you today.
Well,
But
Could you maybe reverse the wind just to get it a little offshore?
this is about as good as it's looked for about 2 years. But
You're
but
joking.
Yeah.
You're joking.
No, we've had a tough run, Stacey.
For 2 years?
Yeah.
This is the best it's been?
Yeah.
he's exaggerating.
You're exaggerating. Come on.
Not by much though. But hey, thanks so much for sharing your time here today. Awesome to have you guys in Australia. It's such an honour.
So good to be
The
here.
honor is ours.
Yeah.
believe
Looking
me.
forward to seeing it at Lawn tonight, up to Goldie and Byron, and in Sydney. And for everyone who misses the tour, because the tour's sold out, I think we released digitally in December. Yep, December on Patagonia.com.au. We'll have the digital release. You'll be able to watch the whole thing.
Get a
But till
Christmas
then,
present.
good Christmas present. But thanks again, gentlemen. Great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. What are they? Are they just